Today in this video, I'm going to try and teach you 13 tips about starting your own pest control company. Now, I'm one of the owners of the Mosquito Police franchise, and because of that, I've gained a great deal of knowledge in the pest control field. So the tips that I'm going to share with you today, you can use all day long to make your business bigger, stronger, and better. So, that being said, let's begin. Number one, always make sure you have your licenses. Okay, in every state, you're required to have a certain license. Okay, so in my state, for example, in Wisconsin, I'm required to have an aquatic mosquito license and a turf 5.0. Okay, so, and reasons being because I advertise for mosquitoes and ticks. So therefore, my state decided that I needed to have those two. So I have to hold those licenses. I also have to have my business license that I am spraying commercially. So make sure, no matter what city you're in, that you do your due diligence. And it's a simple matter of just contacting your state department and finding out what the new rules are, because they do change all the time. So make sure you're on top of that. Get your licenses, and I'll tell you guys, I'm going to give you an example. When I started out, I had my aquatic mosquito license. Okay, one of my competitors turned me in because I didn't have this turf 5.0 thing. Turf 5.0 to me used to mean you were spraying weeds in people's lawns, and I was like, well, I'm not doing that anyway, so I don't need that license. Well, sure enough, Wisconsin passed a law recently that said, yes, you do have to have that license. And who caught it? None other than one of my competitors. Make no mistake about it, you will have competitors. And your competitors will do everything they can to trash you and stomp you into the ground, which they have done to us. But all that did was put fuel on the fire and made me push forward even harder. So, take my advice, get all your licenses right away, and don't take any shortcuts. Okay? Number uno, it's going to be always test your products. Any products that you're going to be using, test them out first. Test them on different properties. I've done that. I have, if I'm going to switch to a different product, it could be for pricing reasons, or it's just supposed to be better, or it takes care of more insects, then what I need to do is I need to test that somewhere before I actually bring it to my people. Okay? Before I bring it to my customers, I got to make sure it works. So I select certain homes, and what I'll do is I'll just spray people for free. I'll go on their properties where I know the mosquitoes are horrible. They live in the middle of a swamp. And I'll say, hey, let me come over and test this stuff out, this new chemicals on your property, and let's see how they work. And that tells me a lot right there. If I take them in the bowels of hell where the mosquitoes, you can't even open up your mouth because there's so many of them, and it works good there, I know I have a good product. So that's what I mean by testing out your products. Don't be afraid to try different products, and you will find some products do work better than others, for sure. All right, number 3, knowledge of your pests. Whatever pests, whatever insects or little varmints that you're trying to control, whether it's squirrels, rabbits, rats, or mosquitoes, in my case, ticks, any of those type of things, make sure you do your studying, learn them, learn where they hide, learn their activities, daylight, nighttime activities, anything that can make you better at what you do. And the reason I say that is you can go to your state and you can get a pest control license, but a lot of times the pest control license, it covers certain laws and what chemicals you can use and where you can use them and whatnot. But it doesn't come right out and say use this type of chemical or use that type of chemical. You got to figure those things out on your own as you go. And you will find that the state agencies will not recommend what chemicals to use. So do your own research, find out what chemicals you should be using, test them, and then put them to use. Okay? All right, number 4, follow the rules. If, for example, you're not supposed to be spraying anywhere near a body of water, be it a stream or be it a lake, make sure that you're not doing that, because I guarantee you if one of your competitors see you doing that, or even a state agent comes out and does that, those are huge fines that they can leverage against you, and they're not afraid to hand them out. All right, so you want to make sure you're doing everything in your power to follow the laws. Now, you went through a lot to study, get your test, excuse me, take your test and get your licenses. Why would you want to jeopardize that? And don't jeopardize that for any reason. Go out there, follow the laws wherever you're working, do it 100%, then you have no worries, all right? All right. That being said, number 5, develop a good marketing plan. I could talk about this all day. We do all kinds of things in our company, from websites to door hangers to radio ads to Facebook, all kinds of pay-per-click. We do all kinds of things, okay? We do so many different things, and I think that it's very important to do that because branding is huge. Don't do one thing and expect it to work like, hey, I took one day and I went out and I dropped off my business cards in all these doors. Well, that maybe isn't the best way to market. There might be better ways that you can market. But what we do is we try to capitalize on a lot of different things, and we know, hey, if, let's say, for example, we might do door hangers and they produce X many leads, or clients, and radio ads produce X many leads, and so on and so forth down the line. So we have multiple streams of marketing that we use in our business to help get you going. So you have to come up with a good marketing plan, good marketing strategy, like where are you going to do it? And a good example of that might be, I'm not going to spend a lot of money on door hangers, let's say, for example, and I take those things and I take them to a poor neighborhood that I know can't afford my services anyway. Or I take them to the middle of the city where they don't have much for mosquitoes versus taking them out in the areas by the lakes and the rivers and the streams and the swamps where I know they got a gazillion mosquitoes, right? So that's just as important as having good marketing pieces, okay? Put them together well, do your research on that so they all look good and they say everything you want them to say, and the call of action, all of that stuff is in there. Then make sure, like I said, you're not putting them out in a city where there aren't mosquitoes. Make sure you're concentrating on areas where A, they can afford your services, and B, that problem, that pest in that area is a big deal. So like for us around lakes, good place for us to market because the lake people generally have the money to pay for our services. They have the spiders, they have the mosquitoes, they have the ants, they have all these things that we can market towards, okay? So they have a problem, we're the solution, okay? All right, that being said, number 6. Oh my God, this phone keeps going off. Number 6, invest in good equipment. So early on when we first started, we kind of learned that. We knew that from other businesses I'd been in, that I don't want to go buy a cheap blower or a chem blower or anything like that, or cheap water pumps or anything. We make sure we buy a quality equipment. Why? Because I don't want to be broke down in the field. If my area is, let's say, an hour and a half around where I'm going to be traveling, God, I feel like a weather person when I just did that. Doing all that. But if it's an hour and a half every direction, I don't want to be way up here and I happen to get broke down and then I can't finish the job. So one of the things I do, I make sure I've got backups on every vehicle so that when I head out, if one takes a crap on me, I've got another one there ready to go. And I buy good quality equipment so I'm not working on it, because when I'm in the field, I don't have time and I don't want to be working on them. I need to be spraying and making money. I can work on that stuff at home later on the weekends or in the wintertime. Okay? All right. Number 7, have reliable transportation. I cannot tell you how important that is for the same reason. But let's say, for example, you go out, you go to start your car or your vehicle. It doesn't start. You're supposed to be out there working, but now you can't because something went on with the starter. And the starter's been acting up. You knew it was acting up, but you never got it fixed. And now it's time to go spray, and you can't do anything about it because you're stuck fixing your vehicle, which is ridiculous. So, therefore, make sure you stay up on that. Have a good, reliable transportation. It's very important. All right. Number 8, trademark your business name. I have heard so many horror stories about this. I've seen where guys have come in and they told me about this, where they started a big company and, Joe's Plumbing or whatever, and they make a good name for themselves, and all of a sudden another company opens up in town and they call themselves Joe's Plumbing, right? Well, if the whole town knows Joe's Plumbing and they've done a good job of marketing and branding their business, and then all of a sudden you open up yours and it's called Joe's Plumbing. Well, wait a second. You're stealing, customers that we've built up this reputation for. So, and that's just an example, the name Joe. It could have been Reliable Pest Control, and somebody else calls it Reliable Pest Control. They let you build it up for 5 years. They waltz in. They have the same name that you do, and all the marketing and everything that you've done, all of a sudden, their brand name is also his brand name. So when you say to a person, well, yeah, I'm from Reliable Pest Control, well, they think you've been around forever, even though you just came in. So, therefore, make sure you trademark your name so you have protection on that. All right? All right. Number 9, find good software. I've got to tell you, our software does so many things, and it is so freaking valuable, I can't even tell you. So, for example, there's so many things to it, so I'll just start naming off some off the top of my head. So, emails. In our state, we have to send customers notification 24 hours in advance of when we're coming to apply our pesticides or our products, and my system will automatically do that for me. Once I put all this information in, it automatically kicks it out to them, notifies them 24 hours in advance of when I'm going to be coming. I'm able to reschedule if I get rained out very easily at the click of a few buttons. Then it sends them notifications when we've serviced their property so they know that we've been there. Let's see, it does all the emails. I can send emails to them about anything. If I find something on their property that I think is really harboring a lot of these pests that they're trying to get rid of, I could send them a little email and say, hey, that pile of leaves that you have out there all around your property, that's harboring a ton of mosquitoes. Okay, it would really benefit you to get rid of those. And I could leave them little messages like that. And it's kind of good too, because in a way, if you use it like I do, I'll use it in such a way that when I send it to someone, that I'm telling them, look, this is help creating the problem that we're having with the mosquitoes out here. But if you don't, it works in your favor too, because if they don't do anything about it and they call you out for a respray because the mosquitoes are still there, you can be like, look, Mrs. Jones, you got to start working with me on some of this stuff. I remember back on July 17th when I told you about those leaf piles. We're not doing anything about it. They're holding water, moisture, and the mosquitoes are in there. Okay? So that's part of what our software does. The other thing it does for us really cool is the routing. So as soon as we get new customers, I can have one right up here. Let's say, for example, I can have that customer and all of a sudden there's another one down the road that calls in. I can be out in the field. My office person can take and slap that person up there automatically, and as soon as I come in the truck, it automatically refreshes, and now that one right next door is on my list. That's the next one I'm going to hit, instead of maybe I was going to go over here and catch somebody, you know what I mean? So, doing the whole Weatherman thing again right there. But anyway, you get the point. All right, drag and drop locations, it does that as well. Holds all the customer's information. That is vital too. So when I talk about getting good software, let's say, for example, I've had calls come in where all of a sudden a job gets added and I've never been there before. And I'll try and find the property, but if the fire numbers aren't visible and you've never been there before, a lot of times, their address, you can't find it. And even though the GPS will get you in that area, okay, that's another thing the good software does. It uses Google Maps, but it gets you to that area. It's all integrated within the system we use. But I can get there, and I can have information on there like personal information, like you only have to spray around the house, and that's it, or the house in one building, and it's things like that I'll look at and say, okay, well, I can do that, but I don't know. It might say the color of the house, the driveway is, mile and a half in, off the main road. That's all helpful information to have, because when you're looking for that house, sometimes it gets frustrating when you're trying to find it. So good software will help you in many, many different ways and keep you in track. You'll know one job after another, which one's next. It routes them so that it's the most efficient route for you to take, which saves you time, which saves you fuel, and the bottom line is money, right? So, good software. The next thing, number 11, use good personal protection equipment. When we go out and do our work, I want everyone to know this. I've done a lot of different businesses over my lifetime, And let's say, like being on mowers all the time, I should be wearing hearing protection all the time because that's constantly running, you know. So same in the pest control thing. You know, I don't care if the chemicals you're using generally don't cause any harm or whatever. I think no matter what it is, over a period of time, it's bound to take its toll on you. I don't care what it is. You know, you might be able to take your product right now, pour it into your hand and smear it on your body, and it might not do anything to you. However, after spraying for 20 years and it's always on your body, it could cause problems, right? So take the time, use the personal protective equipment, buy good quality stuff. So we use latex gloves when we're out there working, even though we don't have to. We do that. We have face protectors because we don't want it in our eyes. And we use hearing protection also, and we use respirators. So make sure you get good quality equipment. Like I told you guys, if you're going to be doing this all the time, I don't care that your stuff is safe around animals and humans and whatnot when it's dry. Well, that's great, but you're putting it on when it's wet, okay? So think about that. So therefore, it's like anything. If you work in a sawmill and you're there all the time and you're just so used to that you don't even wear a mask in there or anything, well, don't you think over time that stuff is going to get in your lungs? Well, of course it is. So why not use the respirator right off the bat to avoid that, right? Just makes sense. All right, number 12, match your local prices. When you go out and you get your business going, you need to know what the locals are charging, okay? What your local competition is charging. If they're charging $70 per treatment, you're charging $70 per treatment. Don't go in there and be 60. Don't go in there and be 65. Don't play that low ball game. How you want to beat your competition is on marketing, okay? All you do when you bring your price down is you're just being the low baller, and then pretty soon your competitors are going to bring their price down, and then you got to bring your price down again, and you have a price war in the wrong direction. You want a price war? Get it going this way instead. If they raise their prices, raise your prices, okay? Stay up there. So no matter who they want, if they have to choose that service and they need two mosquito control companies out there, and you're both at $80, let's say, that's great. Now we're going to choose the one with the best reputation, or the one they like the most on the phone, or the one that answered their phone. Beat them on those levels, not on price. I have learned this. Don't do it. You crush your own market. You don't need to do that. All right. That being said, last and final, number 13 is always go back and retreat an area if they are dissatisfied. Don't ever be that guy that's not going to come out there and do it. I know there's some companies out there that will say, look, if you're not going to help me at all and you won't do anything about the water problem, the water sitting in your backyard, or you got an old pool back there and you're not doing anything, don't be that guy that says, I'm not going to come out and retreat your property, okay, because you're not doing anything to help me. We go out and retreat those properties no matter what anyway, because it's not worth it to me to lose that customer over something like that. If I have to go out once in a while for a retreat because you had a new hatch of mosquitoes or something that came in, the swarm came in off the lake or whatever, you know, just be that guy that goes out there and does the retreating because they appreciate that. And they know a lot of companies don't do that. So you be the guy that does, okay? Those are the 13 tips that I have for you today. If you guys would like more videos like this, please let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, things you want to know about. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the little bell notification thing so you get a notification every time we put up a new video. As always, thanks for watching.